And now let's get into episode 7. As always, this episode contains spoilers for Marvel's What If episode 7. In episode 7, Marvel's What If Thor were an only child? In episode 7, Marvel's What If, we get to find out what would have happened if Odin had decided to return the wee baby Loki to his frost giant family instead of keeping him and Thor. Had grown up believing he was an only child. I'm phrasing it that way because, Hela still exists, lest we forget Her Majesty. It's a fun, fluffy episode that ends with a terrific cliffhanger that seems to set up the finale of this consistently entertaining animated series. It gives us plenty to talk about until it arrives. I'm sure they'll find a way to kill Tony Stark at least one more time before it does. If you're a regular to the show and often listen to our weekly reviews, you may already know they have a bit of a unique format. More of a breakdown that we hope satisfies die-hard Marvel fans, but also brings those less familiar with the MCU up to speed. With that in mind, it's time to dig deeper into what if Thor were an only child. So you may be asking yourself and me, what would be required viewing? Certainly, the first Thor movie needs to be on your radar, along with Thor Ragnarok, and possibly Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, Captain Marvel, and Avengers: Age of Ultron. As we've come to expect, Jeffrey Wright returns as voice of the Watcher, Chris Hemsworth is Thor, Tom Hiddleston is Loki, Natalie Portman is Jane Foster, Kat Dennings is Darcy, Samuel L. Jackson returns as Nick Fury, Jeff Goldblum is the Grandmaster, Kobe Smulders is Maria Hill, Clark Gregg is Agent Coulson, Frank Grillo is Crossbones, Taika Waititi is Korg, Seth Green is Howard the Duck, Alexandra Daniels is Carol Danvers / Captain Marvel, Rachel House is Topaz. And now you may wonder, so what's different? Jane Foster and Darcy Lewis are keeping on the desert, monitoring a rather familiar astronomaly that turns out to be Thor and his gang arriving in Las Vegas, with the intention to party and party hard. Watcher then jumps in with a bit of exposition. In this universe, Odin chose not to raise Loki as his own. After finding him on the battlefield as a baby, brought him back to the Frost Giants instead. Growing up minus a testing but pivotally maturing relationship with Loki, Thor has evolved into a party prince who jumps at the opportunity to capitalize on his bad boy behavior when his father slips into Odin's sleep, and his mother Frigga takes her eye off the royal ball. Like all and sundry from the 9 realms to the biggest party ever witnessed on Earth, is certainly a surprising series of events for Jane and Darcy to cope with. They were expecting a much more malevolent alien invasion. But despite his lack of wisdom, Jane is still attracted to Thor and is pulled into his orbit. Meanwhile, Darcy marries Howard the Duck. And that escalated quickly. After partying all night with a gaggle of MCU faves, including Foam Party Grandmaster, Nebula, Jane is paid a visit from S.H.I.E.L.D., who are looking for a way to get rid of Thor and clean up the mess that he and his revelers are making on Earth. Maria Hill decides to call in Captain Marvel to get the job done. She arrives and kicks his ass for a while, but explains that using her full power to get rid of him might cause catastrophic damage to the planet. So Maria and Carol plot to lure Thor into a remote area where his annihilation won't be as much of a problem. Jane thinks S.H.I.E.L.D.'s her plan is way out of pocket and concocts a different one to tell Frigga about Thor going off the chain. Frigga appears and lays down the law while Thor promises he's definitely not partying and is in fact studying the 9 realms of a cultural exchange as agreed. Efforts to clean up his mess before she arrives on Earth are mixed at best, but Thor nearly manages to sell it to his mother when she lands, thanks to Captain Marvel. The episode appears to wrap up. Thor and Jane's relationship develops further, with the pair agreeing to go on a date. So how does it end up? Well, we almost get a happy ending in this one, but even the watcher didn't see the cliffhanger coming. As some romantic music soars around Jane and Thor, the portal opens and out marches Infinity Ultron. He's in the body he created during Avengers Age of Ultron that the Avengers nabbed and used to bring Vision to life in the sacred timeline, and he has all 6 Infinity Stones. But will it be James Spader's voice flowing from Ultron's mouth when we next see him, or Paul Bettany somehow? I can't wait to find out, and there are a lot of tantalizing questions here. Here are several good standout moments in this episode. Both Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston seem to have a grand old time bringing these versions of Thor and Loki to life in the booth, and their banter is just a gift that keeps on giving in episode 7. It was a treat to see the pair interacting without so many years of rivalry and resentment having built up between them. Turns out they would have been the best of friends, something that perhaps both of them suspected in the sacred timeline, but could never quite achieve given their family history. Kat Dennings was on hand to deliver most of the episode's killer lines, and in the series where some of the voices, sadly, haven't really matched the energy of their animated hosts, Darcy jumps out as a successful incarnation. I never thought I'd witness Darcy and Howard the Duck tying a knot, but sometimes the MCU gives us things we didn't know we needed. I now give my right eye to see these two interact in live action. Episode 7's Infinity Ultron cliffhanger was also superb. I know that Marvel has teased it in various marketing materials, but What If's finale showdown, which will seemingly bring all these universes together for a huge battle that includes Captain Carter, should be quite the eye-popping denouement.